Hi everybody, we're going to present the behavioral theory. The members of my group are Lucelia Rangel, Ricardo Francisco, Jose Miguel, Edwin Barrueta, and me, Kevin Arturo. I'm going to talk about from Ivan Pavlov. He was a Russian psychologist and a physician. He was famous for his dog experiment, now known as a classical conditioning. In his experiment, Pavlov rang a bell with feeding several dogs. He did this during several meals. Every time the dogs heard the bell, they knew a meal was coming and they would start salivating. Then Pablo rang the bell again without bringing food, but the dogs still salivated. They had been conditioned to salivate whenever they hear the sound of the bell.
Now, now I'm about to talk about John Bradus Watson. He was an American psychologist born in the 19th century, and in 1903 he published his article "Psychology as the Behavior Uses." He's also a milestone in the behaviorist theory, just like Ivan Pavlov and Edward Thorley. He also conducted an experiment called Little Albert experiment. So I'm going to describe it. Watson conducted an experiment with a 9-month-old baby named Albert. In this experiment, he reproduced a loud sound using a bongo behind the baby's head. Meanwhile, he presented a white rat in front of the baby, eventually causing a generalized reaction to every object. And now, in the next one, Burroughs Frederick Skinner was also an American psychologist born in the 20th century. He was a pioneer and a defender of the behaviorist theory, and he also created his own branch of uh, behaviorism called radical behaviorism. And during the years of the World War II, Skinner developed a project for creating a kind of a guided missile using pigeons as they learn the shapes of tanks, planes, and ships. And this project was called Project Pelican. Now my teammate Luz will talk about behaviorism as a theory.
Behaviorism as a theory. Behaviorism was advanced in America as a new approach to psychology in the early decades of the 20th century by making particular emphasis on the importance of verbal behavior. The behaviorist theory believes that infants learn oral language from other human role models through a process involving imitation, rewards, and practice. These human role models in an infant environment provide these stimuli and rewards. When a child attempts oral language or imitates the sounds of speech patterns, they are usually praised and given affection by their parents, and that kind of attention will become the incentives. Now onto the main principles. The behavioral theory views psychology as the science of behavior, not the science of the inner mind. From that, it evolves into a learning theory that consists of the formation of associative or conditioned reflexes. All learning is the result of the establishment of habits provided reinforcement and award. Two types are distinguished: classical, also known as respondent, and operant conditioning. The first type, studied by Pavlov, refers to the processes that occur in an organism each time two stimuli are presented. The second type was studied by Skinner, investigates trial-error learning in which positive and negative stimuli are evaluated with observable results in behavior. The main strategies of this behaviorist theory can only be true for the early stages of learning during infancy. Now, these are the two types. Respondent behavior. This type is evoked by a specific stimulus that will consistently and predictably occur if that stimulus is presented. It is also called elicited behavior. It can also be described as the natural response to a circumstance, which is behavior that is not influenced by or dependent of any external stimuli. The other one, the operant behavior, in this type of conditioning, the babies obtain native language habits and traits produced by various babblings. which resemble the appropriate words repeated by a person, which can be their parents, or an object near them, which can be the TV or nowadays an iPad or a YouTube video. Uh, since their babies and mothers are rewarding, this very rewarded reinforces further behaviors of the same sort into forming groups and syllables and words in a similar manner. This originates the language according to behavioral theory. To put in other words, children develop natural affinity to learn the language of the social surroundings. Behavior theory stresses the fact that human and animal learning is a process of habit formation. Now my classmate is going to talk about some related theories.
The foundation of the behaviorist theory. This was founded by John B. Watson in the United States in the year 1930 when he published an article called Psychology as the Behaviorist Views It. The behavior, the behaviorism began to flourish, and by the 1920s, it was widely known. This theory received a considerable thrust from the educational world of the 1950s. Today, the behaviorism is defined as a current of thought. And then the and different proposals. In the 1930 appeared the neoconductism by Skinner. In 1948, Skinner published Walden 2, in which he described an utopian society founded upon behaviorist principles. In 1957, Skinner published his book Verbal Behavior. And then in 1959, Chomsky came up with his criticism of Skinner behaviorism review or verbal behavior, what causes the behavioral model to be replaced by psychology.
Related theories, we got habit formation theory. This is the process in which a behavior through a regular repetition becomes an automatic or habitual. The second, the functionalism is a social theory that has been applied to education. According to it, society is understood as stable, and the components of the society are in balance with one another. There are two main principles. The first, to study the social world through the scientific methods or used in the science. And the second one is that the society consists on interrelated parts that can be understood in terms of the function they serve in the total system. And the last one, the mentalist learning theory. This emphasizes the role of the mind in the language acquisition by arguing that humans are born with an innate and biological capacity to learn language. This theory was led by Noam Chomsky and arose in response to Skinner radical behaviorism.
The next is the methods and approaches. The methods usually enhance behaviorism are completely adjectives, that is to say, there is no trace of inspection in them. The first is letter A, learning present. The animal is made to learn the direction demands of search that must be happening with complicated mechanisms or through makes that you both know or negative. Of course, bully the chocolate box. I thought Watson don't know quite. There will be another product applicable somewhere. Projects, projects are based behavior determinate the organisms of the animal class. For example, we can investigate what behavior the animal follow with respect to the color of light. And some are organizations of the visual apparatus of the animal senses. Produce learn the second is the letter B. Produce directly conditions the habits or emotions. This method has already mentioned has been taken from a psychologist Paul has he now studied the gastric secretions of the dog under the greater psychic conditions. Um, For there, according to Watson, that's many things that can be how are only direct consequences in the name. Let's see the products applicability to animal psychology.